I finally played A Hat in Time, and I had a very weird experience with it. So A Hat in Time was released in 2017, developed by Gears for Breakfast, and published by Humble Bundle. By December 2018, the game has sold over 1 million copies. Now, A Hat in Time is one of those games where, I've heard people, YouTubers, friends talk about it for years. It always pops up in like underrated indie gems or 3D platformer games that you should play if you like Banjo-Kazooie and Donkey Kong 64 and the like. So it's been one of those that's been floating around in my corners of the internet for probably since its release, honestly, and I just never really got to it. However, I purchased this game like 2 or 3 years ago for the Nintendo Switch, and then I sat on it for the longest time. And then eventually this year, a couple months ago, I went to a cabin with some buddies, and I'm like, I'm going to take my Switch, and on the drive up, and while I'm there, because I was gone for 3 or 4 days, I was like, I'm just going to play Hat in Time. We're going to give it a go. So I jump in, and the game, it's fun. It's a fun 3D platformer where you play as the Hat Kid and you collect timepieces, which are essentially your power stars like Mario 64. This is what it is. I jumped into World 1 and it was pretty cool. So like instead of segmented worlds, it's like Mario 64 or Banjo-Kazooie, where you have this just one big map, you have each different stage, like each world, but it's just one big map where you can go around the map and collect different timepieces. Some of them are like, it's a little bit scripted, where it's like, okay, when you click on this timepiece, very similar to Mario 64, where it's like, okay, we click on this timepiece, now this scripted event happens and you need to defeat this guy. They also have different timepieces that pop up, which are like portals or something, and those are akin to Super Mario Sunshine, where you have to get the shines where you don't have flood. I can't even remember what they're called, but very similar to that. So anyway, the movements, it feels good. It feels, pretty tight. You can jump, and there's like this dive jump, so you can cover lots of distances. The wall climbing is pretty good. Like it's wall jumping, but it's also like wall running up the wall. It's very interesting, and I like it too. You can mantle. The hats are kind of a big deal for the game, where each new hat you get is different abilities, and then you can also collect patches, which can sometimes manipulate or morph those abilities. Like one specific one is the hat that allows you to sprint. When you pick up a certain patch, it turns that into a scooter, so you can like scoot around on the levels and whatnot. So that was pretty fun. There's voice acting. I thought the voice acting was really good. The characters are charming. I love the art style. There's lots of different characters and different, that you can interact with, like bosses, just different characters on each level. You get the mustache girl, which, spoiler, turns out to be the main villain and the final boss. But the boss fights were really fun. I really liked the music. I thought the music was really cool. The level design was really good too. Like there's tons of different levels you go to. Like you start out with like this mafia map, but then you can eventually go to like this ghost level where you end up selling your soul to this Grim Reaper demon guy who ends up being the boss of that area. There's like murder mysteries on a train, which I thought was super cool. You end up solving the mystery at the end. I'm not going to spoil that, but there's just lots of little small charming things that this game did. I don't think it's the greatest 3D collectathon platformer that I've ever played, but it was enjoyable. Like I had a fun time going around and collecting things, and there's not a ton to collect, but there's still quite a bit. You can get different yarns to create different hats, and also different like costumes or aesthetics for the hat. There are different weapons too, but I never found any. I'm not really sure how to even get those. But I also didn't play any of the DLCs. Honestly, this game, I beat it fairly quickly. I didn't 100% it, but I tried to play as much as I felt like I wanted to anyway. I think there's 40 timepieces, and I was in the 30s, I think. It was either high 20s or low 30s, somewhere around there. But like I was kind of frustrated with this game. So let me tell you my journey with this. And this is also just a forewarning for people that are playing this on the Switch, specifically the Switch 2. So I have a Switch 2, and that's what I took with me to the cabin with my cartridge of A Hat in Time, which is for the Switch 1. And I didn't think anything of it. I was like, okay, well, it's backwards compatible. So I took it, popped it in, it worked. I tested it out before I had left on this trip. So as I go on this trip, I beat the first world, I beat the second world, and then I'm trying to load into World 3, and it wouldn't load. I would go in there, like click on the telescope, click the first timepiece that I wanted to go into, and then the game would just crash. It would crash and take me right to like the Nintendo Switch 2 just wouldn't play it. I'm actually really upset right now. So this is A Hat in Time, and the game is actually really freaking good. I'm having a great time with it on my Switch 2, but if we go over here and try to enter the third world, the game crashes, and I can't figure out why. Bing bong. So, I'm going to have to get out my Nintendo Switch 1. I did browse the internet, and other people are having the same issue on Reddit. I think the devs are kind of looking into it, kind of not. I don't know if they have a Switch 2 dev kit is the problem. So, yeah. A Hat in Time is unplayable on the Nintendo Switch, at least until you get to World 3. World 1 and 2 were fun. Time to bust out this old gal over there. Whoop, whoop. So, after trying this for a few times, I ended up deleting the game, re-downloading it 2 or 3 different times. That wasn't working. So, I went to Reddit, which is like the almighty savior of all knowledge when it comes to anything, to be honest, because there's always that one Redditor 10 years ago that had the same problem as me. Although this wasn't 10 years ago. This was 6 months. Not even 6 months ago. This was 2 or 3 months ago. But, I mean, the Switch 2 came out in April this year. A Hat in Time does not work on the Nintendo Switch 2. So, I don't know if there's patches for it as of right now. I played this back in November. So, it was literally a month ago. It's like October, November. I'm pretty sure it's November. Yeah, it's November. So, literally a month ago. Play the game. Crashes. Doesn't work on World 3. So I go to Reddit. Everyone's like, yeah, it doesn't work on the Switch 2. You can't get past World 3. But other people were like, well, you can beat the game without it and without going to World 3. But I'm just like, dude, I'm not going to do that. I want to experience the game. So what I did is I got to World 3 on the trip and then stopped playing because I was butthurt. Came home, I dug my Switch 1 out of the dust, out of the closet, and then plugged it in and played it that way. And it worked fine, obviously. So, yeah, I don't know. It's a fun game. Like, A Hat in Time is a fun game. Do I think it's the greatest? No. It's probably like a 7.5 or 8 out of 10. Like, it's a fun 3D platformer. There are better ones. I think there's better ones that have come out since then, too. But it was an enjoyable game. It's like a fun... I beat it in about 5 or 6 hours. You can spend more time in the game if you would like, but that's just the amount of time I put into it, and I was satisfied, but also just annoyed that it didn't work with the Switch 2. And like, I don't think it's anyone's fault. I think from what I remember reading through the subreddit that they were saying that the devs don't have a dev kit. They didn't have a Switch 2 dev kit. Maybe they do now. I don't freaking know. Who cares? It doesn't really matter. Just know, as of when I played, which was a month ago, I don't know if it's this way now, but A Hat in Time does not work on the Switch 2. So you're going to have to play it on your Switch 1 or buy it on Steam or somewhere else because it is not backwards compatible with the Switch 2. So, yeah, anyway, that's kind of my experience with A Hat in Time. I think it's a fun game. You'd probably like it, so... But yeah, this is probably my last game that I'm going to be able to fit in for the year for 2025. Which we got through a lot. We got through a ton of games. I'm super happy. I'm currently playing, as of right now, I'm playing Twilight Princess Remastered on the Wii U, which I will probably get done before the end of the month, but my video about that isn't going to come out until next year. And then I'm also currently playing through Clair Obscur, Expedition 33, but I'm doing that with my buddies. We have it's like a gaming book club, which we may end up streaming that and allowing the public to join in and play with us. But yeah, anyway, that's A Hat in Time. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are down in the comments below, and if that at this point in time, if it is fixed for the Switch 2, drop that down in the comments and let people know. Otherwise, yeah, it's a good time. I think you'll enjoy it if you like 3D platformers. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and as always, keep it rad.